going, guys? Welcome back to Crafting Cars. Today, joined by Afton. Today we're going to be knocking out the piston, putting that back in the engine, and then we're also going to be rebuilding the cylinder head with the new valve springs and the push rods that we just got in from GoPowersports.com. Let's get started. Alrighty guys, so today we're going to start on the cylinder head, and we're going to start off by taking out the old valve springs. And since my buddy's here, what we're going to do is I'm just going to hold the valve down because these are pretty light springs. So I'm just going to depress it like this. And as you can see, those retaining clips pop right out. It might be easier to get when I release it. Take this out, take the old spring out.
It's all right through the hole.
And there it goes. Alright, so now we're going to grab these new ones that we got from, like I said, Go Power Sports. Pop it in there. You can see the difference. It's a little bit lower, but it's a lot thicker spring. When you go to compress it, oh yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, this one's definitely a lot harder. So what we're going to do is just set it down in there like that. Again, I'm going to put this on there and then push it down. Afton's going to have to drop those in there. Bam. All right, so that is one done and over with. As you can see, it took a lot more force to compress that down so we get the retaining clips back in there. So now we got one left. Let's just knock that one out real quick. Woo. There we go.
Holy shit! Squeeze those back into shape. Much better.
Yeah, we're gonna have some bruised ass thumb tips. Alright, so that's that. It's just that easy, folks. Alright guys, so we quickly realized that I doinked ourselves and I forgot the ring compressor tool for the piston. And so it was total despair in the garage. We were all bummed out, so we did the cylinder head, and we were gonna wait until we got the right tool. We tried a couple other things, didn't quite work. And then we went in to make some more rum and coke skis, and we went to the cup drawer, we MacGyvered this bad boy up. It's basically it's a cup, plastic cup from a wild game. Cut the bottom off it, and it's the perfect depth. And yeah, show them how it works.
So yeah, the main goal, in order to fit this piston inside this cylinder here, these rings have to be compressed. Now we were thinking about just feeding the rod in and trying to compress the rings one by one, but that in turn is going to scratch the shit out of the cylinder head surface. Usually you can use a tool that clamps around the rings, or they have one-piece tools where you just push it in and it tapers down and clamps all the rings as you install the piston.
Which is what you're supposed to use.
Which is what you're supposed to use. But we got this cup here, so this is basically our one-piece cylinder installation tool on the cheap. And as you can see, as you pull it down through the cup, it collapses the pistons for you, or it collapses the piston rings for you.
All the way down and through. You can see how they're all getting compressed right here. They're all evenly compressed. And since this cup is so thin, you can actually get it inside the piston, so you make sure to get a good fit.
And then we just got to beat the piston in and you're in business.
We did test it out first so we can show you guys nothing but success on this channel. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna orientate all the rings, take the rod cap off, get the main the rod bearings in there, and pound her on in. The night's saved.
We're all good.
Alrighty, so what we just did real quick was we went through and orientated all the rings the compression rings and the oil rings. And all we did, we found this picture on the old interwebs. It's for like small engines, go-karts, ATV, that sort of thing. So we just based it off here. And like I said, everything's all orientated. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna give her a nice healthy coating on the piston and in the cylinder wall. Seen me put the first rod bearing in. Next up is going to be this one, which goes on the cap. There's little indentations there where you line that up, and all you're going to do is make sure that it's all nice and clean. Don't feel any burrs or anything. And I like to line up this tab first, right in the corner there, right there. And then while you're holding that, you just press in on this side, boop, and it'll press in and hold. The big thing is you want to make sure that you're centered on here, right there. So make sure that that hole is nice and centered on it. So with that done, we're gonna go ahead and put her on. All right. So we got the piston in there, right there. Now I got it on pretty much bottom dead center, just so we're gonna have easy access to the bolts and actually threading these bolts on for the rod cap. But before we do that, the old instructions here, read them nice and careful, says you got a plastic gauge in. So I have some gauges here. What they recommend is you gotta have a plastic gauge. They can go from 1 to 7 thou. So if you look through this range, this red one here goes 2 to 6 thou, 1 to 3, and the blue one here goes 4 to 9 thou. So the one that covers the range that we want the best is probably gonna be the red boy here. Peel off a little bit. Come on, bitch. Or sucker. Is the plastic gauge. So you just break off a little piece here. All we're gonna do is get a chunk about that long. You can see how it's just about the width of the bearing there. Hard part's gonna get that to stay. Yeah. Here's that dot that I was telling you about before. And real ginger-like, I'm just gonna go ahead and slide it under. Maybe?
All right, so now Gideon's gonna walk us through how we're gonna torque this thing down.
All right, so what we're gonna be doing here, they want you doing a few different steps here. You're gonna be putting it at 60 inch-pounds and then bringing it up in 20 inch-pound increments up to about 150 inch-pounds. And you're gonna back her back down to 100 inch-pounds and retorque again at 20 inch-pounds, alternating obviously between the two bolts. And then we gotta pop it all off, measure the squish factor.
The plastic gauge.
Yep, with of the plastic gauge with the handy dandy little chart on the side of the plastic gauge that it all comes with. That'll tell you how much clearance you have with your bearings. And then if it's all good and everything's happy, we gotta do it all again. So we're just gonna start plugging away at this. 60 inch-pounds. Here we go. Yeah, cue the time lapse. Alrighty guys, so after the whole torque process and everything, pulled the cap off, and there's the plastic gauge, there's the little measurement that we're shooting for, and it is right on the cusp. These are some tight bearings. We got 2 thou clearance, maybe a little bit less. But it's about 2 thou clearance, and what you want is between 2 and 3 thou for this particular rod and bearing set. So that's going to be all good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scrape off with a little plastic razor blade the old plastic gauge here, and we're going to put a little bit of 30 weight oil on the threads here and torque her back down, doing the same thing that we did before, up to 170 inch-pounds for the final torque, since we are going to be oiling the threads. So you want to go 170 inch-pounds is what they recommend in here.
We gotta put any semi-lube on that bearing, or is oil just fine?
They say oil. Good question, Afton.
Thank you.
Keep them coming.
All right.
So,
I will.
So, yeah, so we're just gonna go and oil this all up, put it all back together, and then this is done, and we're ready to bolt the cylinder head back on. And then it's time to put the freaking cam in. How exciting is that? We might put the cam in. We might as well put the cam in before we put the head on. That way we aren't fighting it, and we can use the cylinder head bolts to pull everything down.
Yeah. Is that gonna make too long of a video?
It sure is. Tune in next time. That's what's gonna be in there next time. All we're gonna do is torque these back down, and that'll probably be the end of this video. So let's go ahead and knock this out real quick.
All right.
Alrighty guys, pistons in, the caps all torqued down, and check this out. Just with a couple of fingies. Look at how smooth that is. Smooth, no grinding, no vertical marks on the cylinder wall, which is perfect. And that is that, all done. That means we are pretty much ready for the first startup of the Predator engine, which is pretty exciting.
I'm fucking stoked.
Yeah, we're all freaking stoked.
Tune in next Tuesday to see me rip the Civic for the first time and tell you everything you need to know before you drive that car for the first time.
And everything.
And yeah, and everything else that happened on my first drive. Some good, some bad.
You aren't gonna want to miss it. Alright. Well, aside from that, guys, that's pretty much all that we have for you today. Appreciate y'all sticking around. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hope you liked what you saw. Come back next video. Bye-bye.